Are you tired of the typical libraries with conventional music that makes you feel meh? Introducing Leerecs.com, the music website made for and by minds like you. Our team are lifelong musicians and producers in love with music. Search the Leerecs music catalogs and find music with guaranteed originality. Mark the difference with music of signature at Leerecs.com.
Saw the devil on the turnpike driving 163 with a fallen angel and a perfect trinity. He lit a long white cigarette, then he turned to me and said, "Ain't nothing separates you but a curtain, the living and the dead."
And between the living and the dead, this is the song, and this is Matt Newell.
Hello.
Hey Matt, how's it going?
Going good.
So, it's not the first time we speak, it's the second time, at least the second time, because accidents happen to everybody. And after we spoke for a wonderful interview with excellent insights, very interesting, we lost it. It went away, it disappeared, technical something, and we lost it. And so I was very sad, but I thought that we should try again. And thankfully, Matt found the time to try it again. So thank you so much, Matt. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't always get opportunities for do-overs in life. Even if something is good the first time, why not try to do it better?
That's a wonderful philosophy, really. Well, anyway, we're here now, and we really want everybody to know more about you, to get to know you, to hear about your music. So, same way, Matt, please, why don't you, take the floor and introduce yourself and speak a little about your music and what you do.
Great, that's a good idea. So my name is Matt Newell. And I play alongside my inspiration. It's country music. You guys heard a little clip right before this. I've been only recording for about a year now, so this is actually my first project. We went to the studio a year ago, me and a drummer and a bassist, and a couple of other musicians here and there. Went into the studio and recorded for couple months up until the summer, and filmed a music video and everything, and just released all of it around a month ago. Singles, EP, and everything. So yeah, it's all out there now, and now working on getting to the next step. So yeah, my music, it's country. You can hear a lot in there though, especially in the EP. You can hear a lot of different influences. So I kind of skirt the lines between a couple of genres, but we'll call it country.
Country. Well, what's the name of the EP? How many songs we're going to find?
Good question. So EP is actually named after the titular song in the first song, Between the Living and the Dead.
Okay.
That seemed to suit the project comprehensively. And yeah, there's 6 songs on there.
Okay.
kind of longer EP. It sits right between an EP and an album. It's pretty straightforward and to the point, and it goes through some lighter songs. There's some softer, more acoustic songs, and there's some harder, more rock, more country songs on there.
Okay.
And it starts hard and ends beautifully. So I'm really proud of it. Really. And me and all the other guys, we put a lot of work into it. So
I want to talk about the rest of the ensemble. Like, what's your... Because it's your project, but still, right? They helped you. You want to talk about them, and how is your work relationship?
Good question. By the way, all this is happening in Russia. For those of you who are listening, maybe in other parts of the world, I'm American. I'm from Arizona, but I'm living abroad in Russia.
Beautiful.
So the work relationship is actually kind of interesting because it's me, an American, working with Russians and sometimes switching languages. And that's kind of the beautiful thing about it is I get to explore the influences of musicians that work with me. And kind of they put a little of their personality into it, and even their culture into it, and it's really cool. So, they're good. So my drummer is Andre, and very talented drummer, plays tons of genres. And my bassist right now is actually more of a classical musician who is collaborating with me on the project. And my producer is one of the best that I've ever met. One of the best. I interviewed quite a few. And this guy's, he understands, for being Russian, he understands music. And he understands American country, even being Russian. And he understands my vision. So working with him is really a blessing.
Okay. So my question was, how do you think they change your music with the influence of their culture? Where do you see that happening?
It happens a lot in the mood. It happens a lot in the subtleties.
Okay.
It's really hard to explain. It comes from Russians are very technically precise, and there's definitely a technical element in how they push me to be more technical. Russians, they like to have a plan, and they like to be very accurate in executing that plan. Okay. And so when we plan these songs, there's a lot of effort put into them. The Russian influence really then is not as much the musical element. It's very American. But there's a little bit of Russian stuff. Oh, for example, it's kind of hard to get a banjo here in Russia. So for one of the songs, at the studio we have a balalaika. So I played the balalaika.
Oh wow!
One of the songs.
That should be a picture on your Instagram or something. That's amazing.
It is. There is one.
Oh, it is. Wow.
Well, maybe there isn't on my artist Instagram. Yeah, I got to send that to you.
Wow, that's so fun. So, that's
there's an example. I guess there is a lot of Russian influence there. And I'll probably do it again because why would I get a banjo? I can play the balalaika.
Yeah, I mean, it's so different. It's so special. Wow, wonderful. So I remember we talked first time about your lyrics, right? The inspiration for your lyrics. We talked about how it is very different from what you could anticipate to find when you're listening to country music. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. My lyrics, when we talk about country music, that's the first place to start. I don't think I ever set out to become a country musician. That was something that just kind of happened accidentally, and that was tough for me to embrace at first, for a while. How that happened. I've been through a bunch of genres. When I was younger, I played metal. I was rock and metal guitarist. Then when I was in my early 20s, I switched to classical singing. So I became a vocalist and did choral work, which is how I developed as bass baritone.
You're baritone.
And yeah, so I'm a baritone and low bass, and that's something I didn't think I could ever like sing, because I didn't think I really fit into any genre. So there's a lot of pushing my voice higher. I was like, well, where can I go? Jazz, maybe blues, definitely not pop. Rock, even, you need kind of a higher voice. Folk it kind of is accommodating, but funk didn't really feel right. And I never really considered country though. And then I wrote Between the Living and the Dead, and I just kind of wrote it based on what was in my head, what I was inspired by.
Where were you? How did it happen? I imagine, I don't know. I imagine like a cold room, maybe early or maybe sunset. How did it happen that moment?
It was about there. I mean, I had that riff for a long time. I had that riff, and I really liked that riff. And when you hear the beginning,
yeah.
And I just got a new guitar, and I was fooling around, just seeing what I felt. And when that came out, it was just there in my mind, and that's it. It was later in the day, yeah, sunset, early evening, nice. And I wrote a good part of the song then, and the lyrics were, I like that idea of a conversation with the devil. It's something kind of Faustian, something like Wolfgang von Goethe, very classic. Having a conversation with the devil, trying to reconcile something, and that kind of leads to the main point of the song, which goes into theology, and a lot of the lyrics are kind of inspired by the search for what does death mean? What is the meaning in death? And a lot of theological stuff's in there. A lot of biblical references, like fear and trembling. One of the apostles said, "Continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling." That's one that goes back a long time. And then the last line in the last verse is, "Can you tell me about your eschatology?" And that means what do you think is going to happen after you die? And the pondering of that question is kind of the inspiration of the song.
Wow, this is reminding me, we talked about this. We talked about your evolution, the way you think. You studied theology, right? And we're very inspired by the Romanticism of the turn of the century, the Industrial Revolution, how that took the human vision or thinking to human level, where they started to wonder the necessity for God, and how is it not built, human built? Can you build upon that?
Oh yeah, you're leading me right to talk about Dostoevsky, which I would love to talk about.
Please go ahead.
And that was, yeah, that's something we chatted about. The audience has to know we had a long talk about 19th century literature, and that was kind of part of my journey. 19th century literature is kind of how I ended up here in Russia, because you also asked about that. Just being interested in classical literature, but also where we've been the past 150 years, how we ended up here. Longer than that, of course, but a lot of that is within the last 150 years. And after the Industrial Revolution, a sort of collective sense of meaninglessness, or maybe more like search for meaning, kind of becoming more cultural. And a lot of writing towards that time reflects that Schopenhauer and Nietzsche, and I mentioned finally around the turn of the century, that, and Dostoevsky, and Fyodor Dostoevsky, how the Russian Russian writers looked at these problems, and how in Russia at that time too, there were bands of nihilists that were gaining a lot of political influence. There were assassinations. There's a church St. Petersburg, Church of Christ on Spilled Blood, where Tsar Alexander II, I believe, was assassinated by nihilists, and that sort of it triggered a massive shift, and that's always interested me. Me personally, I've gone on a strange path. I grew up pretty Christian, tried some Eastern religions. I lived and studied in Jerusalem for a time, and then just trying on that search for meaning. And I guess I kept some notes along the way, made some journals, and then I guess I got to the point where to me I think it was time to stop asking the questions and to start living. But the questions don't go away, They don't always go away.
No, and I don't know if we ever find any answers, at least satisfactory answers. But is that our mission? To keep wondering? How is it a part of your work?
I think a lot of music comes from that, and there's the unanswered questions, the torture of unanswered questions. I think inspires a lot of music, and a lot of the struggles we have. Music, I think a lot of it gives birth to music. I think a lot of music is born through chaos, is born through questions and trying to reconcile things. Of course, not all music is so philosophical, but I think there's something in all of it. There's something that compels every musician to create and to manifest something. And sometimes I listen to music and just think, wow. I think that's why I like it, like creating music. Sometimes I can listen to someone else's song and just say, wow, like that's good. Even if it's simple, even if it's incredibly simple, there's so much power. And like we all like Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. There's a good example. It's a song that's just simple in its construction, but it's so eloquently written and so powerful in the lyrics and the music working together. There's something relatable, and I think that's the goal of music for me is create something that other people can relate to, and try to bridge that gap where I created this. You listen to it. You can hear it in a way I can't. I'll hear it in a way you can't, because I, as a creator, can't hear it without understanding how it was made. Yeah. But hearing people that listen to it and hear different things in it.
Absolutely. Does it happen to you that you're recording something and you're feeling the rhythm and you're feeling the everything in it in one particular direction, and then you leave it to the next day, you hear it fresh for the first time, and it blows your mind. It's like it sounds completely upside down, the other way that you were feeling it the day before.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes there's something you listen to, you play one day, and you like it, and you listen to, you try it again the next day. Whoa, what was that? That was ridiculous. But sometimes it sticks, and it's in there, and then it becomes a reality. It's funny going from just something in your head to something in your head that just kind of is there. Like, well, what if I put words? What can I say here? And then now it's recorded, and it's part of permanent reality.
Permanent reality. I truly love that. If at the very least, what we do is bring something new into the world that didn't exist before. Yeah. But like you said, it's really up to the interpretation of the listener. you know, that's how much you can control whatever you put out, and then the way that they're going to relate to it is very personal and different.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, and you're a connoisseur, I'm sure, of music, doing this.
So, what plans do you have moving forward? How would you ideally progress with this project and your music career?
Well, that's a good question. What I said to you last time, and it's a big part of how I think. And if I could distill everything down to this, what I want to say is music is a journey, and as all journeys, you have a trajectory, but there's always a question of the unexpected. And for me, I have a goal, and the goal is very simple, and that is to share and have people enjoy my music. And it's very simple. And when people listen to and enjoy my music, that gives me satisfaction. The goal is really that. Moving forward in a practical sense, me and my band, I'm back in Russia now. And we are getting some stuff ready to start performing and start doing some shows here. And we're dealing with the logistics of that now. And then we'll see. This is new. The EP, I've only had music out in the world for a month or two. So now is the time where we say, well, we've made music. Well, what do we do with that? And that's the plan. Get some shows going and see where it goes. Dedicate to it and give my energy, my time to it, because I love it. I truly do. And beyond that, it's a matter of fate, really.
It's a matter of fate. Absolutely.
It's a matter of fate.
Absolutely.
Matter of fate that we're talking,
As
well,
well.
I see it that way.
As well. Well, Matt, this was fantastic. We would need hours and hours to really dig into all the great ideas and the culture and the basis of what of your work and your art. You are a very cultivated and a very, very interesting person to talk with, and
you are too, and I'm open to doing it anytime.
Again, thank you so much, Matt. The last question is, if you had a particular advice for your younger self or for somebody who's getting started, who wants to, follow your steps and produce, compose, write songs, what do you think that'd be?
Oh, that's a good question. And I really like that because I really, really hope that I do have some influence. And my advice is there's a couple points of advice I have. Number one, just get the instrument and play. If your heart's calling you to do it, if you say, hey, I've always wanted to learn the accordion, whatever, violin, string bass, or guitar and piano, or just learn to sing. If you have the feeling, go do it, and shoot for it, and don't hesitate. And that's the first point of advice. Is start playing around, and you find that music becomes a very it becomes something that is a feedback loop, and the more you do it, the more you feel natural and the more you want to explore. And the second piece of advice is there have been so many unexpected twists and turns that have gotten me here, and there'll probably be a bunch of new ones. My biggest point of advice is just don't box yourself in any way. Don't define yourself based off, this is my music, this is my, if you're already musician, this is my style. style. This is what I do. Don't box yourself in. Be open to exploring, and don't ever worry about needing to define yourself. The music speaks for itself.
Yes.
So just let it do that. When I was younger, I was very committed to metal. And if you have told me, hey, in 10 years, you're going to be playing country music, man, I would have said, no way. But here I am. And just don't box yourself in. Don't be afraid of trying things a different way. Just, no matter what, don't even worry about criticism. Your music is your music. And you have to, if you feel inspired, you got to put that down. You got to play it. Even if it's a little bit out of your comfort zone or it's a little bit different than your style, because sometimes it'll lead you right where you need to be. I hope it does.
Absolutely. You'll never know if you do box yourself, being very concerned about following one particular path. You'll never know what you're going to leave out without exploration.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful wise words from Matt Newell. Super interesting and wonderful, cultivated person to speak with. Wonderful artist, fantastic voice, large caliber, and great song. I mean, Between the Living and the Dead. And we're gonna listen. We're gonna enjoy a little bit more to it. Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much, and we'll definitely stay in touch with you.
Thank you, Antoine.
So until the next one, thank you so much. All right, let's listen a little bit more to Between the Living and the Dead.
Saw the devil on the sidewalk, had his beady eyes on me. I handed him $3 and a quick apology. He says, son, can you tell me about your eschatology? Now he's heaven, fear and drowning, Lord, it's driving me mad. My absolution is not a solution for the living.
Are you tired of the typical libraries with conventional music that makes you feel meh? Introducing Leerecs.com, the music website made for and by minds like you. Our team are lifelong musicians and producers in love with music. Search the Leerecs music catalogs and find music with guaranteed originality. Mark the difference with music of signature at Leerecs.com.